Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest webinar, Reimagine Your Marketing with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights Journeys. My name's Gareth Boyle, the Marketing Manager for Microsoft here at Fusion 5, and I'm joined today by General Manager for Customer Engagement and Business Central, Paul Griffin, and Customer Insights Solution Specialist, Hannah O'Brien. Before we kick things off, just a few quick bits of housekeeping. During the session today, if you do have any questions, you can ask them via the Q&A section of your Teams browser or application. We'll also share a copy of the recording with those in attendance and those who couldn't make it today after the webinar has concluded. With that out of the way, let's kick things off with our first speaker, Paul Griffin. Paul.
Thanks, Gareth, and good morning, everyone. As Gareth mentioned, my name is Paul Griffin. I'm our General Manager for our Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement and Business Central teams here at Fusion 5 Australia. Before we kick off the exciting presentation Hannah's got, I'm going to go into a couple of slides about who Fusion 5 are and a little bit about what we offer today and our capabilities. So Fusion 5 has been in business now for over 22 years, and over that time we've seen some significant growth. And now we have over 850 people working across our 9 offices all through Australia and New Zealand. We also have a few people working in some of our regional areas too, helping customers there today. Even more excitingly, our customer engagement team is over 60 people, all locally based here in Australia. So if you need some boots on the ground, we've got the bodies there to come out to your offices and support you. We're very proud of our partnership with Microsoft, and we have seen ourselves in recent times, just in 2024, win the Microsoft ANZ Business Applications Partner of the Year Award, which is a fantastic achievement. And we've also, as part of this journey with Microsoft, been part of their inner circle for 8 years straight today. So that's a big, big achievement for our team. So in recent times, people have been aware of Fusion 5 as being really a business applications partner. But over recent times, we've really evolved ourselves into a true systems integration partner. And what that really means is that we put your business objectives and goals at the heart of everything we do. And then we wrap around it all these additional services and capabilities we've brought into our team today. So whether that is doing AI, data and analytics, so supporting your business on that really important piece of data, and you'll see that today with customer insights, or whether you want to take advantage of AI, or moving into the other elements like integration and automation, which has become a big thing today. But more importantly, we have a really strong cloud infrastructure and security team where we know that security is very important for business today. Surrounding that and supporting you every step of the way is our managed services, consultancy and advisory teams that make sure that you can go beyond with your platform that you have today. So that's enough from me, and I'd love to hand you over to Hannah O'Brien, who's going to walk you through today's very exciting presentation around how you can reimagine your marketing with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights and Journeys. Thanks all.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. So I'm Hannah O'Brien, Solution Specialist focusing on customer insights here at Fusion 5. So as part of this webinar this morning, and what I'm looking to take you through is I'm going to show you and give you a bit of a walkthrough of the Customer Insights Journeys interface, what that looks like, some of the key features within the platform too, focusing on that marketing automation, real-time data you can access and personalization as well. Some of you might be familiar with Customer Insights, or it was formerly Dynamics Marketing. This product has changed a lot over the years. So if there was something you considered a few years ago and kind of have come back around, things have changed a lot. And especially if you're on Outbound, and Microsoft Outbound Marketing is being moved over to real-time journeys. So this is what I'm going to show you today on here. So I guess before I get started, though, I just kind of want to call out, and it's a common thing when I'm talking to marketing teams, because we hear a lot of noise and buzz around AI, digital experience, customer experience, and these are kind of the marketing strategies we're trying to adhere to and provide to our customers. But fundamentally, we still are met with some pain points and issues in our technology. So technology you might have implemented 5 years ago, 3 years ago, you've kind of exhausted some of those features, or you're needing more capability. You might have systems that don't integrate, so you're manually having to import, export, or even rely on multiple teams to get simple things out the door. And this is something, I guess, still quite a common problem, even when we think how much technology has evolved. But these are some of the fundamental pieces for you as a business, but also as your customers, because these are pain points they also suffer with. Not being able to receive responses from you quickly and easily when they need help. Allow you to be able to respond and understand that they're having a problem, or they've got intent to buy. Their brand experience is impacted by this. And when the market is so competitive, that brand experience is kind of crucial to, I guess, those customers, keeping them, retaining them, etc. And you just don't want people to have a bad brand experience. So making sure we're also having that customer at the forefront of what we're trying to do with our technology too, and kind of bringing that together and aligning it with the technology. So with customer insights, here's just some, I guess, key call outs I want to from the product perspective. So this is a marketing automation platform. This has built in different channels that you can engage with your customers. So your emails, your SMS, push notifications, custom channels, these can all be integrated into one place. And so having that in one platform allows, I guess, for that customer experience to start getting really personalized too. With that, you have that unified customer data, that behavioral data, that profile data, but also consent management. This is one thing when I'm talking to a lot of customers, consent is still a major problem for them. It sits in different places, and it's a problem that they can't really wait on. It's one of their, I guess, primary issues that they want to focus on. So having a single source of truth for that. Within customer insights too, the drag and drop features, which I'll show you in the demo, just kind of get you a look and feel of what that means from the application. The integration piece. So this is where, I guess, if you're using other Dynamics products such as Dynamics Sales, customer service, when you're using customer insights journeys, it's all sat on the same database, data set. You can listen and react to data that's going on by your sales team or your customer service and bring that into that customer experience and customer journey by listening and engaging at the right time when things are happening. If someone's got a complaint over here, making sure you're not sending them out, I don't know, promotional emails, or doing something, being smarter, I guess, with the data you've got access to. And the real-time journeys is going to be replacing the outbound marketing. So with that comes more features, functionality, the UI is improved too. So here's just a quick slide just to show you where the application actually sits in the Microsoft platform, because sometimes it can be confusing. But like I mentioned, this sits within the Dynamics area, the business applications. So within here, we've got the same data set we can use. So that's just calling out where that sits in the wide range, I guess, of products that are available. Anyway, I guess time to start the demo that I want to kind of talk you through within the platform. So a walkthrough of that different functionality too. So where I want to start, and this might be familiar if you're already using other Dynamics products, the interface is very similar, look and feel, and the way, I guess, you move through the platform. What you also have is built-in Copilot functionality in here too. So this relates to in different places within the platform. So I'll call them out as I go through them. But I just want to start with the journey builder, because like I said, this is where that marketing platform, those different features, channels, listening to those data points all comes together within the journey builder. So efficiency is one of the key things that Microsoft is working for. So having prompts that are available for you to build out journeys quickly and easily. You can use your natural language to describe them too. I've got a template in here that I've kept, so I don't have to start from scratch with some of these journeys either. So this is just to do with a web form inquiry. So over on this right-hand side, it's given me a bit of a preview of what that journey experience is. So maybe I'll just select that. And so this is taking me straight into the journey builder. So we can see there's different tiles going on. But if I actually kind of strip that back and kind of talk through what's happening here, we have this entry point. So this is what is listening for something to happen for the journey to start. So this is looking at a marketing form, so a web form, having your inquiry, contact us, web form on the website. As soon as somebody does a submission, this is going to activate this journey. This journey is then going to send them an autoresponder email. They're going to have a phone call activity with sales, and also listen to if sales complete that activity, what happens next. Maybe we send them out a brochure or do something next. But within the journey builder, this, like I just showed you, is pre-built from the template I already had. But if I want to build out this journey, These are all the different tools that I have access to. So you have your channels at the top, like I was saying, around the email, text message, push, custom channels, might be WhatsApp. That can all be configured in the platform. We even have voice conversations. So if you're using contact center, this is how we can incorporate those experiences to activate other areas of the business too. We can do some AI powered actions in here too. So channel optimization. So listening to the data that your customers are engaging and reacting with to understand what's the best channel they engage in. Is it email? Is it SMS? And making sure we're kind of leveraging that data to provide that great experience to them. A/B testing, you can do A/B testing. Traditionally, it might be subject line on email, but here we can do different channels. What's performing better? It's taking it to that next level within the platform. Conditions too, we've got lots of different options. So we might have a web form submitted, maybe we wait 2 hours, and then we're going to send that next step. So an email, an autoresponder, etc. We can wait for a trigger in the system too. So listening for a data change or something to happen in the system that's going to then push that person to the next step or branch in the journey. We can bring through a series of messages until they do something. So I don't know, an abandoned cart's probably a good example of this one. They've abandoned it and we want them to convert and buy that product. So let's do some kind of nurturing and pushing them towards making that purchase, because that's what we want them to do. We can also branch on attributes within the journey. So somebody might come in and based on their particular services, we might want to create a branch to take them on a different experience in there. So a particular team might manage one area relating to that service, or it might be to a different area of the business too. Like I was saying earlier around, if you're using sales, customer service, you can start bringing through some of those activities that area of the business do and bring it into your journey. So being able to incorporate some of these activities so your sales team can also engage, they have context, they have information around where did this activity come from, is now in their activity view. This is, I guess, bringing together that sales and marketing piece, because it's been over time, I guess, a hard thing to kind of aligning both areas of the business, but this brings them together. So marketing do this bit, hand over, listen for something else. They need nurturing, it comes back in. That can all be contained as part of that, I guess, united experience in the builder. And extending onto that too, creating opportunities, leads, some of these, I guess, business terminology we use day to day. And again, helping sales and bringing them leads and opportunities when somebody's ready or at that point in time. We have this activate a custom trigger. So this is used, you can even activate, I guess, underlying business processes. So at a particular point in a journey, just do that, we can then activate an automation that kind of runs under the system to do a particular thing, send a document out, do something as part of that process. We can call it within one place. So making sure, again, at that right time, it's going to be sent out. So that's with the journey builder, just to kind of give you a quick overview. With that, we can also listen for things in parallel to this journey. So somebody might be kind of flowing through it. However, if they, I don't know, raise a case or make a complaint, we can listen for that. And so at any point during that journey, we can then remove them from it because we don't want them to continue. We have options there. We can be quite smart with our customer experience. And also fundamental to building out a good journey is the planning piece, understanding what you want that customer, that journey for them to go on and those different touch points too. I have an existing journey here, like the example I showed. This is just showing you how it flows through the different data. We can kind of drill down into that at each stage as well. I mentioned around a marketing form, so web forms. So the ability to have web forms created, embedded, you can have standalone pages. There's different options for how we can build out forms and host them. And this is, I guess, a crucial part to some of that lead generation, that data capture. They're nice, quick, easy ways we can bring data into the system. So whether it's on your website for a subscribe to newsletter, we can bring them straight in, put them on a newsletter campaign or subscription, we can manage that as we have that data captured. Within this form builder, this example I've got here, so it's like a lead generation form. Obviously capture different information we want to that's relevant to this form, but we can also capture that consent. So that unified consent I mentioned earlier, we can capture it on a form that comes into the system. It's stored in one place, and I'll show you what that looks like from a customer record perspective too, because we can leverage and listen to this data in different places, but it's managed in one place. So again, it means the sales team can also respect and have visibility on that too. With the form 2, you can see your submissions coming through, those records that's being created. And as part of that form, you can have behaviors to automatically create those lead records as well. That's just an example of it on its standalone page there. I want to show you the email builder next. And so this example I'm using relates to an event. So this is a registration email. So we might have a group of people that we're going to send out an email to get them to register for this event. Once they register, we want them to receive an email relating to their registration record and just information. So what I want to show you in this, and again, this is where some of the functionality extends out. There's built-in event management functionality, and I'll show you what that looks like a bit later, but I'm just going to show you conceptually what that means from an email point of view and how you can bring in that event info into your email. So here we have, like I said, somebody's registered, might have some information, and we want to do a QR code. It might be in person as an example. So we can bring through, as part of the drag and drop features and functionality in here, we can have different elements and then bring through QR code, text, image, etc. Standard, I guess, email build functionality. But this can just be brought onto and drag and dropped onto the email builder. We can build that out. And so with this, we can have different options too, content blocks, usual things in here. But I'm just going to go back to that example I had. So this QR code, this is going to represent the event registration that Hannah has received an email for. It's unique to her record. She goes to the event. There's a QR code reader that then registers in the system in Customer Insights that Hannah's attended that event. What's one of the new features that's come out, which people have been asking for a while, is around cancelling registrations. And we've kind of had to do a few different workarounds for this. But now there's actually a button we can just build into the email so that if people do need to cancel a particular point, they don't need to email someone to do that or ring up or build an overcomplicated, I don't know, Power Automate or something to manage that. It can be done in a click of a button, which is nice and easy, especially for the event team too. With the email builder as well, and this is where personalization kind of goes to that next level, we can start building in conditional content. So previously you might have had to build out different versions of emails depending on who the audience was for that email or depending on what content they should receive. So it might be based on, I don't know, location where they're based, might be state-based. We can build out one email and enable that conditional content in here and start bringing that together. I'll just quickly do an example. So with this conditional content, maybe I'll just do some text in here. And so we have this conditional content here. And like I said, we can start building out and personalizing that email based on different information we know about that customer. So I'm going to show you segments shortly, but segments can be used in here. So you can build out your target audiences and bring that relevant content within the email. And we can bring in multiple different variations of this too. But I won't spend too much time on that. We've also got content ideas. So again, some of the Copilot AI features that are coming out. So we can add in a few key points. This can help draft an email. You can still edit that draft too. Again, for efficiency to help the marketing team with that content generation and kind of getting you a bit of a head start on some of those email comms that you might need to get out in here. That's that example of that email too. And even with the email, I'm just going to show you, because I mentioned it earlier, around the consent piece. So we can get rid of that. So the compliance and the consent. So from that web form, we might have had somebody who asked to opt into a newsletter or whatever it might be. So we can also apply and make sure that that's a commercial email that's being sent out, making sure we're respecting some of those consent options. If it's a transactional email too, we can also have the option to send that out. So we do have different types of emails we can send, but if it's commercial, we can start drilling down into those consent points to make sure the right person is actually receiving it and they've consented to. This is where that consent piece is kind of taking that next level within the product here. I've just got an example of a different email just to show you some of the insights. So here's an email. We've got quick snapshots and those insights. Here we can also see some of those different engagement, visibility. You can get on a heat map in here. So again, quick snapshot of what the engagement was, who was engaging, and having that visibility in one place too. So I've touched on segments, kind of talking through whether it's a journey, whether it's as part of the email conditional content and personalization. So segments can be used in different ways. So this example I'm going to show you, and also just relating to the segment builder, it's designed to empower the marketing team to be able to easily access and identify those audiences for campaigns. So kind of removing the need to kind of go across different teams. They can validate the data in one place. They don't have to do backwards and forwards with spreadsheets or changes to data briefs, checking. Again, manual, time consuming. When you can just do it in one place now in the segment builder. So this segment, as an example, just to show you the different types of data we can use within here. So within here, I've just got a couple of examples kind of pre-built. But this might be an event invite as an example. So we need to identify who that audience are. So I want to bring through customers who have an opportunity with a close date in the next 3 months. This isn't just marketing data I'm using and listening that data that the sales team are working with day in, day out, because we want these high value customers to come to these events. So I can leverage the close date. It might be dollar value. I've got in here is more than $250,000. But what, and again, how I said, using that data that sits across sales and customer service, over here, we've got the different attributes. So we can call in that data and we can drill down those different fields, what those values are, and incorporate them within the segment. So this segment can be really comprehensive with lots of different data points that we can use and leverage. These are some of the, I guess, the attributes we can use. You can pull through different information, but also what we can incorporate in here is that behavioral data. So here we can also include, we might want to invite everyone who attended last year's event. Did they engage on a recent email regarding something else? We can start getting really particular with who that audience is and how we then send them a communication to, because it can be really personalized because we have this data. We can use and access it to send the right thing to them. You can also incorporate segments that exist in the system. So this is an example of one I might be building out, but I might have a really comprehensive or suppression segment that I want to make sure these people don't receive anything. So I can reference that segment in here too. So that's a handy one. And also just including and excluding contacts. So manually being able to add and exclude people from things too. So I use that event, I guess, invite list as an example. So here I've actually got the event management area within the same customer insights platform. So from here, and this is just an example I've got up, we can start capturing that end-to-end information relating to this event. So within here, we can set times when it's going to happen. If we're hosting it on Teams webinars, we can also incorporate that in here too. So this is going to generate a link. And again, we can use that within the email. We can reference this event in the email, fully connected. And so all those different attributes and different data points all connect back, and they're all sat in the same place where we can leverage it, whether it's in the journey builder, in the email for conditional content, or QR codes, event related information. There's different places we can leverage that data. There's lots of different options within the kind of the event planning area too. We can set agendas for sessions, and get quite detailed with that. We can incorporate, again, registration forms, and these can be hosted in different ways as well. You might even choose to have an event portal. This can, again, be incorporated into the platform so that depending on the experience you want for your customers, we can bring that into one place and manage it in one place as well. With the registrations too, so you've got that web form. As and when people start registering, they're going to start populating again automatically in here. So we can see if we just want to check who's registered, who's coming, what company, they've lost their QR code. We can also access that QR code. It sits on their registration record too. So that's nice and easy to do. After the event, we can also see who checked in. So if it's a webinar, we're going to see those responses again in the attendance section here. And we can kind of even capture a lot of that information relating to that event, like the cost, the venue, different bits and pieces that are associated with events. You can collect a lot of information in here too. And so kind of I've shown you lots of different, I guess, data points, how somebody can engage with your business, how you can listen to that sales customer service area. So what does that mean when you look at that customer profile? So I'm just going to use this profile I've got here because we want that single customer view, that 360, those different touch points. We want to have a holistic view of that, whether you're in sales or you're in marketing. We want to go to our customer records, and here we have this interaction timeline. So whether somebody is submitting a web form, we can see that on here. If it's somebody who's doing a phone call or a planned phone call with your sales team, we have access to that too. Even the event information, we can consolidate that all in one place. We can see that in one simple view within the timeline. So it's super handy to get that full visibility of that customer too. And you can even see like different engagement as well. If you use custom channels, you can bring that through and have that as part of your timeline as well. That can kind of be configured as in how you have your different channels or your different, I guess, activities you might do with your customers. You've got lots of different options in here. And so with that, I think that's the last thing I want to show you on the demo. I know we've got time for a Q&A as well. I might just flick to, we've got this on screen. So just to kind of, before we jump into questions, if you're looking to get started, if you have, I guess, more questions around customer insights, you're on Outbound and you don't really know the way forward, or you just need a kind of a bit of advice and guidance on how to use the platform, especially with the new features and functionality. It's a different approach for how you should be approaching your customer journeys. You've got access to a lot of easy to use, simple touch points and attributes. So you want to know how best to kind of access them to kind of execute on that marketing strategy and that customer experience you're trying to achieve with your customers too. So yeah, if you want to get in touch, feel free to reach out and we can book in a call and kind of talk that through, where you're at, what you're trying to do, and the best way forward with that as well. I think that's all I had to say on that one.
That was really, really good, Hannah. Thank you very much for that. So we've had a couple of questions from the audience. I might just run through. We also have Nathan and Paul still on the call to jump in if we need, but just a few questions here. So first one, Case, we have an event that will run through 2 days. Each day will have 6 sessions, time slots. Can I give a single invite to send to customers and give them the ability to register for one session each without overlap, or will I have to create multiple emails? Let me know if you want me to reread that, Hannah.
Yeah, that's okay. So with the sessions, so it's just with that, also talking through what you want that customer experience to be with how they receive different, do they need a QR code per session? How is it in person? I've got other questions with that. But ultimately, within the event management area, you can have your event with your different sessions. The start date, end date will be from today until tomorrow, and send a single invite to customers and give the ability to register. So you'd have the registration form, and that would have the sessions for them to register for, but that will be relating to that one event. So within the back end of the system, you'll see what they select. And so based on what they've selected from the registration form, as an example, we can leverage that data within the email builder and use those, I guess, attributes, I guess, each session to populate dynamically which sessions they've chosen to sign up for, if that makes sense. So there's a couple of different pieces to it. It's one, the setup, two, how they register, and then three, the email with that one.
Nice. And for the person who asked that question, or for anyone else on the call, if you'd like an actual live demonstration of how to set that up in person, we'd be super happy to sit down with you for an hour or two to give an example of that. So second question I've got, for the consent captured within the web form, can multiple consent be captured here, i.e. one for global consent and another for campaign specific?
Yep, so you can do, so in the form, you can capture as much consent as you kind of want to. You don't want to also put off your customers having to tick lots of different things. So with that, I would say it depends what that web form is for. So if it's just more of that high, like to opt into commercial emails, keep that super high level, and that might just be like a web form, contact us. If there's particular things relating to events or something, calling out that next level, so you'll have commercial, and then underneath that is like your events, newsletters, products. You can then start getting really particular with that consent. So it depends on your consent model. It's probably like a business decision internally too, but you've got different options for how you can, I guess, build that consent model in the back end. And it also supports multi-brand consent. So if you've got different brands, those models can be created and also managed in the same environment as well. So some customers do that. So you're making sure you've got consent for this brand. But if you're trying to send them an email for the other brand, it's not going to work because they haven't got consent for it. There's different ways the model can work.
Nice. And I've just got one from Jose here. Do I need to be on a particular version of D365 already to use customer insights?
And so Microsoft do different version updates. So some of these features, if you're not seeing them, it might be a version in your the application version you're on. So just making sure, maybe checking with your IT team, the version you're on, and then there's an area called feature switches, which not everyone knows about, which then starts enabling some of the new stuff, like the cooler features that are coming out from Microsoft. You can then start enabling them. Some might be in preview, so it's always good to test them in your sandbox environment and see if it's relevant to your business. You might not want to use all of them. But if you want to use them in your production too, you can also enable them in there. But the preview ones aren't supported in production, so wouldn't recommend that. And Microsoft also have their application release planner. I don't know if you're aware of that, and that highlights all the planned upcoming new features, what it relates to, and when they're due for availability, whether that's in preview or general availability for your production environments too. You've got a few different options in there, which is quite handy to check because new things come out and when they're available, then like I mentioned, start enabling them in your environment and start using them.
Nice. Just a couple of more questions trickling in here. So we're looking at using Power BI in MS Fabric to understand customer behavior and to build segments. Is it the best to build segments in customer insights manually, or is it possible to import them from Power BI, i.e. MS Fabric?
Yeah, there's different options for that because with your customer insights licensing, you get customer insights data, which is a common data model, so a CDP. So with the common data platform, sorry. So with that, you can build up really comprehensive segments in there, which might feed from your Fabric, or if you're using Power BI, I would first have a look at who you're trying to identify as your audience, and that should identify where you need to build that segment, whether it could be in the interface I showed you, or if it is a more comprehensive segment that you need different information, or if you're pulling in from different data sources, then it might need to be done externally or within customer insights data. You've got a couple of different options there. And with that, I would also say that with those segments, how are you trying to engage with those people? Does it need to be in real time? Does it need to be particular timeframes, dates, etc.? Because that will also define what that solution should be as well. So there's a few different considerations for that. So like I said, understanding who your audience is, what you need, and then from that will kind of identify the tech or which application to do that in, and also capability internally. If you within your marketing team, if they can do it or if they need training on it, there's different options for where that can sit.
Thank you. And just two quick questions here. Number one, can the event setup provide coupon and discount options? Actually, do you want to maybe answer that first before I go to part two?
Yeah. Sorry, just reading it as well.
You're right.
Yeah. So with that, there can be plugins for. There's different ways we can do this. So we've done loyalty management systems within here that can generate, and it might not sit in events, but it might sit in different places for some of the coupons or discounts. I'm presuming you need a payment gateway for that too, to get those discounts, and you want to take those payments. So that's a plugin that needs to be done as part of that event registration process. So it's just like an extension, but you can use that extension as part of that event management piece. It's just like an extra piece to it. So it just depends what the coupon and discounts, if people do need to pay to, like I said, around that payment gateway. Do we need to set up the product catalog?
So just for the benefit of the audience, I'll read out part two of the question. So do we need to set up the product catalog within Dynamics that's related to the specific event?
So I'll probably have a couple of other questions with product catalog. Because within an event you can have sessions. So would that be sufficient for like a product catalog? So say, for example, there's a Microsoft event, 10 to 11, we're going to do dynamic sales, 11 to 12 will be customer service, and then we'll look at customer insights. Does that a similar scenario? Just, I guess understanding what product catalog means. But ultimately, if sessions isn't sufficient, or depending on what that deeper requirement is around product catalog, even within the platform, we can create custom entities. You can still leverage that data in different ways, whether it's in segments, emails, trigger points within the journey builder too. As long as that data point exists, we can kind of use it in different ways.
Perfect, thank you. And just one here, can you connect to external data sources to use as journey triggers and decision points, for example, Shopify and other non-D365 systems?
Yep. So with triggers, you can have custom triggers. So with that, it's creating a trigger that has some script um, embedded on wherever that I guess interaction point is. So if it's Shopify, it's making sure you have access to embed that script on whatever web page you're probably going to use for your website. So we can listen for that interaction to happen that's going to then trigger the journey. So it's called custom triggers. That can be done, and using it on websites is a common one for that. And even with that, there's other ways, if it's other systems too, depending on what you want that data source or the next action to happen, you've got a couple of options to bring that in. Even like things like Power Automate are quite handy, and that can activate the journey trigger too.
Nice, thank you. I think just for Alice's question, I might get you to reach out directly afterwards just to expand on some of the stuff you've showcased today. And that might go for everyone on the call. So I hope you got the impression today that this team is extremely passionate and knowledgeable. And any of the stuff that we've highlighted or showcased today, we would be super happy to expand on at a separate time or a separate call at your convenience. Other than that, I think that's it for our questions. So I might wrap up there. Just a reminder, we will share a copy of the recording hopefully today after we've just done some edits. But you've got the QR code on screen. Feel free to reach out via there or the website with any questions. We'd be super happy to sit down with you and expand on anything we have covered today. I do want to say a very sincere thank you to Hannah and Paul. I know the amount of work you've done to put this presentation together, and it is very much appreciated. So thank you everyone for your attendance today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.